All right, we're joined on set now by Ijoma Luke, producer, presenter, social media trends on Afia Morning Show, as she takes us through the, shall we say, interesting and packed world of social media. Ijoma, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Oji.
Good morning.
I mean, still on the big story of 4 weeks right now and for today. Well, on the story you took earlier on about Elijah from UNN. UNN is under fire for the eviction of a visually impaired student. From a post from Alex Onya on X, which says, the blind student Nnamdi Daniel has been sent out of his hostel by Professor Abo, who is the Director of Housing and Accommodation in UNN. He was sent out for speaking about the state of UNN hostel and what he's suffering as a visually impaired student. We will get him a much nicer place. That's what Mr. Alex says. You will see this evil in UNN. We'll fight it. We'll fight to dismantle it. Our students can't live like prisoners anymore. UNN is the first indigenous university in Nigeria, and its glory must be restored to the fullest. University must be a model for all universities. Well, this has sparked lots of concerns. Like I said earlier, you've been taking the story. We've been on this story. But what we don't have are the comments of what people are saying. But before I get to the comments, let's just give a little bit of throwback to discussions earlier on.
Absolutely. Now, the University of Nigeria Nsukka has been at the fore of conversations around the state of facilities. On the morning show yesterday, we had the acting public relations officer of the institution, Mr. Ara Inya, and he said that not all facilities are the way they're being portrayed on social media. So you say that we have not ensured balance because we've not captured the hostels that are doing well.
You can't possibly focus on one hostel and use it to generalize. That is a wrong communication.
Mr. Aga, I asked a question, and I'm going to want you to give us the names directly. You said Mary Slessor. You said Okpara. What's the third hostel that is in suits?
I've mentioned Mary Slessor.
Right.
I've mentioned Okpara.
Great.
I've mentioned. You can go to Balewa. You can go to Krumah Hostel. You can go to PG Hostel.
Now Afia TV has taken a tour of other hostels and obtained footage. And here's what he saw.
Actually, my experience have not been funny at all, and especially as a visually impaired student, it has not been funny at all, considering the fact that though we were given a restroom, but currently the place is in a state of total mess right now. Even the place, like leading the entrance leading to it, a pipe that burst upstairs is releasing water downstairs, and even inside it, like the place is totally. It's better imagined than seen.
Right now, your reputation, your personality is at stake, right? Because people are going to be being you one how. So all needed to be done was admit and agree that the institution are looking into this and it's going to be solved in time to come.
I really, really hope that the school gets to solve these problems on time. It is too much. It is too bad. Every single thing about the hostel, not just in Njoku, other hostels too.
So this is a call to the University of Nigeria to do something about those hostels, and I hope they do that.
Commenter Anambra First Son says, this is Professor Abo, the Director of Housing and Accommodation, reportedly victimized the visually impaired student Nnamdi Daniel, who spoke about the deteriorating living condition of students in UNN. Chibike Okafor says, Professor Abo, the evict blind student for speaking truth. Nigerian failed these kids. We day your back, Nnamdi. This evil must stop. Abod Dennis says, and we are blaming Tinubu for everything wrong in this country. Can we now see that there are more evil men, even in our organized institution, than the man who wears the cap? Mazana says, when I saw the video of him speaking out, I knew this would happen. Imagine an institute of learning filled with professors acting this way. Concerned Nigeria says, and school fees has been tripled at both undergraduate and postgraduate level by the new administration. Many students are leaving the school because they cannot afford the fee. It's terrible, a federal school. Kenneth says, too bad, this is just a clear sign that the problem with Nigeria is beyond the men at the top. If this man can do such at this level, imagine what he can do if he becomes the governor of the state. Well, these are the comments we have under this, and people have been firing back. Even old students have been talking and saying, mentioning this same Professor Albo that he has been a really, 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 really bad person.
I mean, those are the major concerns. You know, Dr. Adibe Abo, who is now denying evicting Nnamdi Daniel, saying that eviction must go through processes, even though all Nnamdi had was you will leave and you will leave before tomorrow, if possible tomorrow. So there are divergent views, and that's essentially what we're trying to extract from Daniel this morning, to really find out what he had, and to also confirm the recent release by the school that says that these students had defaulted in paying their fees and they were given some hours to evict or leave the hostel. But then the question now is, now really, right after the viral interview, you remember that he has not paid as alleged? So I mean, how that is like a blow below the belt for someone that all he sees all day is darkness, right? I'm just concerned about the communication strategy, and this statement coming from Professor from Aga again. It's just a serious issue of PR. I mean, how better can't you express surprise? I'm shocked, and I'm going to look into it, as opposed to
teaching him his job now.
Yeah, well, it's more like
what we lack here. In all this thing we've been running around since days past right now is empathy. It's simple. And once people in leadership don't have empathy, these are the kind of things you experience, right?
Yes.
So, and it's going to be so ugly for Professor Adibe Abo, because he's being called out for his own actions and inactions in that university, right? And as alleged, by the way, at this point in time, if we go forth to do the investigations and unravel these things that has been attributed to him, it's going to be very ugly.
But then Daniel's bed was taken away in clips that we saw, pictures that we saw. His bed was taken.
Pictures that we captured. You know, we saw the bed. This is not hearsay. This is something that we saw. And then Daniel reportedly had to borrow a mattress to sleep last night. So what are you telling me? You know,
no, Natalie, these dots are going to be connected.
No, they are connected. Ijoma, please go ahead with the trends.
Okay, our second story, the FEC approves major rail projects across Nigeria. Nigerian Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved contracts for 3 major rail developments: the Lagos Green Line Phase 1A, Kano Metro City Rail, and Kaduna State Light Rail. The project will be funded by the Ministry of Finance, incorporated on behalf of the federal government, aiming to boost urban transportation and infrastructure nationwide. Well, you've took this story earlier with Mr. Emeka and also the PRO. Well, let's just get a couple of comments, then I get to know what you have to say about this. Mr. Stevens said, big rail announcements are easy. Execution is where Nigerians' infrastructure story usually breaks. The first headline will be timelines, transparency, and delivery. Shaku says, we have unwise leaders in the Southeast who are not visionary at all. Imo State, who is even closer to the president, should bring up ideas about interstate railway lines. True Social says, the South state does not deserve development with their oil wealth, right? Well, that I assume that's a question. Nnamdi says, when it gets to Southeast, it turns to concession projects, making the people pay for it, but FG has money to fund such projects in other regions. This is why Nigeria will never be good, because nation building is built on equity and justice. Stephen says, I have never seen any project in South and Southeast, but they are the ones making the money. Well, these are the comments of what people are saying. People are pointing out to the South and the Southeast, right? Connection to the Eastern Railway Corridor that we've been taking all week.
What you've
been talking about.
Truthfully, right? This takes us back to Professor Chukwuma Soludo talking about Biafra and having an intellectual conversation. Yeah. This is meant to be the intellectual conversation. These are individuals who are connected to
the center,
the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the progressives. These are the conversation we're meant to be having. What is happening in the Southeast and the South? The people who are actually making the monies, for the nation.
Not getting the benefit
right?
of it.
These are the things. The railway is somewhat an ease for transportation and transporting and conveying goods, services, right? Why is it that it's not viable around here? I'm not saying that other regions are not, they don't deserve to have rail lines, whatnot, but a place that you can connect that, and the revenues you can make from here, do they even consider that? It's economically valuable down here in the southeast, in the south. But we're not in the conversation. The one who have this conversation of we're not treating the right thing, just the symptoms all the time. You be as if people are saying a whole lot, right? So this is what we're meant to be talking about, right? Not talking about the issue of Biafra this or Biafra that. I'm still tagging it to the conversation, the intellectual conversation, which the fora between Professor Chuma Soludo and all this, right? This is meant to be the conversation. If you treat the root cause, nobody is going to be agitating for anything. Let me tell the truth right now.
Yeah, nothing.
Well, definitely. I think we've already said it all. The commenters are completely correct. It's time for the Southeast to be seen less as people that always feel like they want to agitate for something or they're marginalized. We need to start seeing that we're really not marginalized. We need to start seeing these developments. And I think that's my piece on that.
Well, this connects us back to your post on Instagram. You went to the railway, you took pictures, and we pushed this story earlier on this week. Right. Well, I'm going to read out your caption, right, which has brought nostalgic feeling to a lot of persons. Mm-hmm. You said, when I walked into the main railway station, Ogui Road in Enugu today, I was saddened at the sight. It told a story of a country that once walked, one where coaches run with certainty and systematic precision. Today in Enugu, rot and reckless abandon have taken over. Now the station is a cemetery, in quotes, of lost ambition. Will the Aba-Enugu route be revived following the Port Harcourt-Aba intervention? We must begin the conversation. Well, the reason why I read it that slow is because you were trying to bring back memory, push back memory. And we saw commenters, in fact, more comments on this, because once this thing was released, people went to your post and started commenting, okay, we said something like this and this is what it is. But let's just get straight into the comments. Richard himself says, I remember as a kid in the 70s, after Christmas, my dad would take my brother and I from Calabar to this station in Enugu to board the train going to Zaria. Sometimes we left from Aba. My dad was a teacher, present day Jigawa. The next comment from Bolle says, the first swipe, I thought it was somewhere in Poland. Nigeria has failed all of us because of the saddened politicians. This is sad. The next comment says, just reminded me of the beautiful sweet days as a student of ASUT at Faculty of Engineering, Enugu Campus 3. I stayed off campus and once lived at a concrete avenue. This used to be my route from Ogui Road after dropping at Small Gate. Life of Chubby says, once the heartbeat of the East, now an APC dump site. Well, these are the comments that we have on that. New comments, actually, we have on that is people talking about the nostalgic feeling that they've had from the Eastern Railway Corridor from Enugu, Ogui Road. And it's really, really sad, though. But like you said, Oji, I don't know, connecting to the center, I think I get your points right now. I think I get your point now, but I hope, I really hope that our matters are being tabled right. Absolutely. And we get the Eastern Railway Corridor
start the conversation
working.
As Natalie stated. We started the conversation right.
Yeah.
Let's see, let's hope. And as I always say, wake up every day and take dose and doses of your renewed hope, not hopelessness, right? Because we have hope that definitely we are going to be brought right there in the front burner and follow and enjoy the dividends of democracy, through equity and justice, aligning all the regions and also aligning the Southeast and South-South, because we deserve it. Deserving of us, right?
It's very deserving. Now, straight to our last story, which has been an open fire on the street of X. Rufai accuses Amupitan of misinterpreting the legal term. Well, on his post on X, he said, it will be on record that Amupitan misinterpreted status quo antebellum. Well, this, we all know that protests have been going on for weeks right now for the removal of the INEC Chairman. Before I get your opinion on this, let's just run through the streets of social media and get what people are saying about this post. Right. David says, a senior advocate of Nigeria of nonsense, San, Tinubu will pour crude oil plus red oil on Amupitan's white agbada. His case will be worse than that of Mahmood Yakub. Omabati says, whoever is waiting for at INEC Nigeria's chairman resignation will wait to eternity. Chuku says, smart man, it's good you put this out here for reference purpose. Fabulous says, he's a useless son, a complete enemy of good governance and ethic jungugists. He should try and rig the 2027 elections like Mahmood Yakub did. Let's check something. The fight to rescue Nigeria has not even started. Well, people are really, really out for Mr. Amupitan.
You see, it's just INEC. INEC needs to, you see, when you're used as an instrument by certain officials as being alleged, right? When you allow yourself to be played like a flute, as people believe, because now we become guests, so I guess we're allowed to express our opinions. When you're being used as a flute, your tune depends, or your quality depends on who is blowing the flute, right? Or who is blowing the trumpet, or who is playing the guitar, or the violin, or the ogene down here, right? So now the Supreme Court has made you look bad. Now they're saying, oh, but we're so quick to remove ADC, we're so quick to interpret it this way, and move it on. So if you're on the right side, 2 plus 2 would never be equal to 10.
Nigeria is 100,
right?
100.
Yeah, 2 plus 2 would never, because wherever you go in the world, 2 plus 2 is 4. But when you say you interpret something a certain way and then is allowed for more interpretation, it means you didn't do your research properly. You should have known what it meant. Before you ran and removed the ADC's this thing, you should have known what that Latin phrase meant. So you see, now you are now looking like the bad person. The same courts, because the court system is a unit, right? The same court is now making you look bad because you misinterpreted the judgment of another lower court, and now you look like. So you have to stop being a flute. You need to start being an upright umpire, because that's what we put you there for.
Is that even allowed? Is there any room for allowing
there is room. There is room.
Natalie,
there is room.
Let me take you back to Julius Caesar again, because I always drop this and leave it there. Julius Caesar didn't take out the wife because he agreed the wife cheated, right? She was meant to be above suspicion. I leave it at that.
Well, my biggest question still remains if Amupitan would leave office, if he will literally resign.
Pressure groups.
Pressure, because there's a lot of rally going on. So I really
intensified.
That's
it doesn't have any other reason than the presidency and the commission.
It's been going on for weeks right now.
Right?
Yes, all right.
If you don't believe in somebody,
ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time.
Be the umpire,
right?
Yeah,
and we have to wrap up. Ijoma, thank you so much for the trends. We really have to go. Thank you once again for coming through today, as always, and we hope for more insightful trends such as this great one. Guys,
thank you.
On behalf of the entire production team of the Afia Morning Show and Afia TV, they say thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed our broadcast this week, and rest assured, we are coming back next week with stronger stories. So don't go anywhere. The weekend show will be here at 8 o'clock tomorrow with Ogochukwu Osai and Divine Onoha. So you still get your daily dose of the morning burst. Until we meet again on Monday, I remain Nathalie Uku.
Oji Mwachukwu, blessed Friday and the weekend ahead. Do have that. Bye for now.